there's been two women in power in recent times in like big Western countries, and they've both been absolute assholes. And I think you have to be an asshole to be able to, and you have to be corruptible to be able to succeed in politics. It's the only way.
It's I'm going to have to put my hands away. It's minus fucking 4 degrees. And I put my hand up to say something about politics and how I am corruptible, but I'm too fucking cold, so I'll just listen.
I saw that they have battery-operated heated gloves now. I have probably every kind of gloves known to man before 20 years ago, and I never found any combination of layers better than, as old-fashioned as it is, leather gloves with rabbit fur on the inside. Nothing better than that.
Isn't it amazing how we lost our wolves and our bears and everything to hunting, but the haggis just keep fucking breeding like mad.
How are you, Nay?
Nay, are you putting yourself up to lead us? Because I'll follow you and I'll repeal the GRA. Let's do it.
I think it's the only way to stop this stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. The amount of spaces people have had on the GRA, and yet, what is the plan? Who's going to tackle this? How many lawyers are out there? How do we change this? And yet, we've never had a
At the minute,
constructive plan.
the only avenue that seems to have been taken regarding the GRA is petitions.
Yeah, well, obviously it's not good enough.
We
So either we
we
come
need
up
to
with
do
a
something
robust
else.
plan to take down Stonewall and absolutely and utterly hammer the Labour Party who want to bring in self-ID, so we put it off. Like, make no bones about it.
That's what I think, Nay, as well. I'm like, all these lawyers, especially that speak up about the GRE and speak up against this, I'm like, why are you not all getting together at a fucking round table and putting some sort of plan together instead of, do you know, if I had an actual skill that I could use that, like a law degree, I would be doing it and I would be trying to round up my fellow fucking lawyers.
And I think that's what's needed. But yeah, I'm really sick to death of the fact that people don't have a plan. I think there needs to be more, shall we say, banner, poster, stickers. In fact, I think we need to be worse than multi-resistant gonorrhea when it comes to making sure everyone knows what an AGP is. And I think that's what we need to
Yeah,
start
but
with.
we also know that that takes fucking money. And then you're like, oh, we're all just going to get called grifters. Like, do you know, it puts a lot of fucking people off trying to actually do anything that needs money. Certainly puts
Well,
me off
I'm
anyway.
not that fussed about, someone can call me that. In fact, I don't really give a shit about these people that are calling people doxers and grifters and bullshit like that. They're divisive. They're not productive. Again, causing divide. Instead of actually coming up with a plan of sorting things out, it's more division. Let's divide the group some more. Let's have a hate campaign about people instead of actually putting that energy into sorting things out. I'm so sick of people stabbing each other in the
No, me
back. It really
too.
pisses me off. Um,
There's not been any shit in here, has there? I was quiet for a while because
I
No,
putting
don't.
no,
out my
no.
No,
gun.
no
I'm
one.
not and I'm not talking about recent events either. I'm keeping well out of that. I'm just talking about. Do you remember you paid my train ticket or my flight or something to Dublin, and it was like 50 quid or something? And then all the feminists that didn't like me were all like, she's a pure grifter. She just wants to do this to go and get drunk and everybody to pay for it. And I'm like, oh, fuck off.
Aye, and you didn't ask for it. I just gave. In fact, I sent you the money without asking you.
I don't. What you do with your money is up to you.
My
It's your
business, yeah,
business, and who
exactly.
you give it to is up to you. You're an adult. If you want to give Amanda some money, and when you hand that money over, it's you're handing it over, and what someone does with it is they can either be honest about it, do what it was intended for, or not. But I think accusing
In
people
fact,
of something based on other people is that you should give people a bit of the benefit of the doubt. That doesn't mean to say you can't learn from your mistakes of the past. But I'm so sick to death of the whole kind of labeling people, the stabbing each other in the back, the having a go, the lack of team support. You're never going to get anywhere until we actually buckle down. It's time that we kind of played a bit more of a men's game, because sure as hell men wouldn't put up with this shit.
I think that's maybe what we need to do. And I'm not believe me, I'm not saying it's not a good idea. Whenever Jasmine and I were talking about it, we've discussed this quite a few times, and it's just like looking at the logistics of it, trying to work out, right, how do we do this, and how do we get it out to enough women that we can do it effectively.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Women are a bit flaky, and it does annoy the shit out of me that women are really flaky. I do. I think it's really, really annoying, but the problem is we need to get out that AGPs are perverts. That needs done first. So they need to be fully aware that what they're supporting is men with a fetish and a perversion first.
When we get the Advan at Scottish Parliament, and it was how much was it, Nino, just for one day?
It was about £1.50.
Aye, so £1.50 for, was it 8 hours?
Aye, 8 hours.
Aye, so £1.50. And what I had said to Nino before as well, because obviously these posters take time and effort and money as well. And I thought, see if we could just, do a fundraiser or something. I've seen Advans for sale for like 25 grand or 35 grand. And I know it's a lot of money, but it's still an idea, if people did have money they wanted to chip in for something like that, then, I'd be happy to drive it about. Like, do you know what I mean? For 6 hours while the kids are at school, showing everybody what a fucking AGP is.
Vince?
Hi there. Hi, sorry. Yeah, I just wondered. This is really me being, nosy for my own education, or maybe, but like I haven't been in a lot of spaces discussing this stuff for a while because I felt quite fatigued by it, and there was a lot of nastiness going on with all sorts of things. But but one of the things that I kind of get the feeling that the sort of science behind it, as in, the fact of whether you are actually a man or a woman, has almost been put to bed. Is that fair to say? That everyone accepts that, someone who just decides they're a woman isn't actually a woman, but they're just a person who wants to be a woman? Because but, to me, I just wonder how easy it is to explain the concept of AGP to someone, because I think there's a lot of gray areas there, and I just wondered if you guys had, or if anyone had properly nailed it down, a really good explanation for what it is that anyone can understand.
Absolutely, it's a fetish.
So
It's
this is what I was wondering. So like, it's really obvious to be able to say, look, we can tell that you were born male, or you've got male chromosomes. I mean, that's like you can prove that in a lab. But if you've got someone and you're saying you're an AGP and they're saying, no, really, I'm not. I'm just wondering, how do you prove that to people? Because to me, that seems to be a little bit of a sticking point. If you want to get other people on board, you need to be able to explain it in a really clear and obvious way that is not amenable to argument. If you say, look, this person is male, they were born with chromosomes that design the body, because that's chromosomes. Your genes build the body. They were born with chromosomes that design the body to produce the male gamete, which is the definition of a male. That's incontrovertible. Incontrovertible. No one can argue against that. That's what that is. And that's what I mean. It's like with the AGP, like still seems to me that it's quite a difficult thing to define.
Well, they're heterosexual. That's the biggest giveaway. The T was always homosexual, highly effeminate homosexual males. That's why T was added to LGB.
How do you do it? Because you will have some of those people who will just insist and go, no, I may be attracted to women, but I'm still a woman. There's plenty of other women who are attracted to women. You see what I mean? I just still find it quite nebulous.
It's difficult because everything's so overly sexualized now, so it is tricky. But the layman's way of explaining this, in my opinion, is it's a man whose grotesque perversions center around imagining themselves as having a female body, genitalia.
Amanda, you and I frequent another space which has several homosexual trans people in it who do not claim to be women, as effeminate as they may look.
I don't go them spaces anymore, but I still don't trust them because they They talk a load of shite. They say, oh yeah, I know I'm a man. I know I'm a man. Why have you called yourself a female name then? Why are you all calling
Exactly.
each other she,
It,
her? Why are you using the female toilets? They just
Yep.
chat shit
but
on here.
the ones who say, "Oh, we know we're men," are still talking shite because otherwise, why would they change? Why would they do any of this? What's the
Yeah,
point in it?
why change your name to a female name? Why wear female clothes? Why try and grow breasts? Why use female spaces? And
What's your angle?
why call your friend who is a homosexual man she and her? It doesn't make sense. They talk shit.
Absolutely, don't trust them at all. Every single instance of men LARPing as women, no matter what their sexual orientation or anything else, it's all about paraphilia.
Was Belfast or me next? I forgot.
Heather's been waiting a while. Can Heather go?
I just wanted to, comment on a few things. Yes, especially in response to Prince with his comment. How do you tell the difference? There is none. No one, first off, is trans. This notion is a false claim, regardless of their sexuality. It is entirely, the whole thing is entirely about men humiliating women. So it's harmful in all respects, and it is not based in reality of any sort. Any man who wants to take on or pretend he's a woman is a predator. And then also I agree with what was that? Who said that earlier? Was it Nay that said that was commenting how she's just sick of it arguing? Yes. I think that ultimately how we stop this is to quit bickering back and forth over this nonsense, because we all, especially most of us ladies, recognize that this is bullshit. Any man that you try to see that wants to pretend he's a woman is a predator. Full stop. No, there's no difference between heterosexual, transsexual, because there's no such thing as transsexual. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Heather. That was great.
I am so cross. I keep thinking I can't get more cross about this nonsense that this government is doing in Scotland and how that's infecting everywhere else. But Philia Remaslin was speaking, and she said that the reason her intervention worked in Scotland was because the women supported her, because she had a grassroots movement behind her that were, I think the phrase she used was intellectually engaged. So there's space for temper tantruming, and I think it's getting to the point where we've been good girls, we've done all the consultations, and it's not going to work. So maybe a bit more fury would be useful. I agree with you entirely. Maybe a bit more gloves off is useful. What I'm thinking about just now, though, is the mess that the law is in. We can be caring of the women who don't want to be in our gang, which is the trans-identified females who appear to have just lost all of their maternity protections if they've got a GRC. So there are individuals who have got GRCs that have had a baby that now, in law, don't get any maternity benefit or maternity leave.
Yeah, no, I'm raging too. They are in the GRR. They were talking about that, about making sure that trans-identified females could get maternity leave and stuff, even though they're legally male. They want their cake and to eat it too.